Okay, talk about how the two of you met.
We met, the first time we saw each other was in the vestibule of Bellarmine Chapel. We were both in a wedding. Patty Payne and Lucita. And Mom was in the wedding as attendant for Pat, and I was in the wedding as an attendant for Lou. So the first time I saw her was in the vestibule of Bellarmine Chapel. And then, of course, that night after the rehearsal, it was rehearsal. So after rehearsal, we went back to Lou Sita's house for rehearsal dinner. And I drank too much wine. And somehow, I don't know how you got there, how you expected to get home. But sometime during the night, Patty Payne came to me and asked if I would take Lauren home. Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So, Mother wasn't too happy about riding home with some drunk. But I took her home that night. And she probably remembers a hell of a lot more about what we talked about that night than I would.
So,
and then I would have seen her 2 days later at the wedding. And then it was maybe a week or two after that I asked her out on a date. She's got all the dates, I don't have the dates. So,
give me a synopsis of your courtship.
Sure.
Well,
What's a synopsis?
actually, we did meet at Lou's house that night, and my dad had dropped me off at Bellarmine because my car was in the shop, and Patty was going to drive me home. Well, Patty and Lou were trying to fix Dad and me up because they were sure we would like each other. But I always said to her, why can't he get his own date? I'd had a couple of blind dates in my day. I wasn't too interested. So Patty had also arranged for Dad to pick me up for the wedding. He drove me to the wedding.
Oh, is that right? I don't remember that.
Yeah. And, but anyway, so she comes to me and she says, I've already asked Ralph and he's going to take you home. And I said, I thought I was going home with you. And she said, oh, come on, just go home with Ralph. Well, Patty left, all the girls left. And I was left there with all these guys who were drinking homemade wine out of water glasses like there was no tomorrow. And I could tell you stories about that. But anyway, so Dad took me home and I just thought he was disgusting. He was totaled, talking a lot. I don't want to go home anyway because all my nieces and nephews are in town and that means I have to sleep in the basement. There's no bed for me anymore. And this was December 23rd was the date of the rehearsal. And I said something about, how many nieces and nephews or whatever. He says, oh, there's so many of them. And I said, well, I like children. And he said, oh, I don't think I'm ever going to have children. Who knows? Well, the next December 23rd, he was expecting Ted. Anyway, so Dad picked me up for the wedding and took me to the wedding, and then I had a date there, and he had a date there. And he was kind of funny on the way to the, making wisecracks on the way to the wedding. So I had 2 drinks at the wedding reception, and I could never hold my liquor. So I had these 2 drinks, and I went up, and it was the dance for the wedding party, and I was supposed to dance with Pat's brother, but he didn't want to dance. So anyway, I was left without a partner, and he was dancing with this girl. And when the song was close to being over, I went over and I tapped her on the shoulder, and I said, "I'm cutting in." And Dad went. I'm sure nobody had ever cut in on him before. And I said to him, "You know, if I hadn't had 2 drinks, I wouldn't have done this." And he said, "Well, would you not have done it because you didn't want to do it? Or because you've just had too much to drink?" And I said, "I've just had too much to drink." So that was December 26th. January 9th, your father called me and asked me to go out. So we went somewhere with Pat and Lou, probably a basketball game. That's mostly where we went on our dates, or before we were married or engaged. And then my senior prom at college was April 3rd. But on March 28th, Steve Mark was in town, and we'd been out with him in the evening. It was a Saturday. Dad came in the house with me. It was about 3 or 3:30 in the morning. We came in the house, and we were kissing a little bit. All of a sudden, Dad's on his knees on the floor, and I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "Will you marry me?" And I said, "I'll have to think about it." And his eyes kind of blanked out, and I said, "Okay, I thought about it. Yeah, I'll marry you." So he went out, he got in the car with his friend, still sitting out in the car. Steve left the next day. Dad never told Steve that he was engaged.
Hey, wait to see if you're going to change your mind.
I thought he said, "You've hit the big time, baby."
He sent me a card that said, "You've hit the big time, baby." So the following Saturday, 1 week later, April 3rd, I got my engagement ring.
So
what was the question I didn't answer?
no, you answered it.